Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends opinion. Let's share, collaborate, but most of all, let's fight.
Hello there, Raiders. Hopefully you're having a great day. I want to take some time to talk about what's ethical behavior within Raid Shadow Legends and whether Plarium is doing a good job of monitoring fair play and what their responsibility is to make sure there's no cheating and that they're actually not sponsoring cheating and that they're having ethical behavior and fair play within the game. And something that I noticed that I've taken a big issue with that has been upsetting me for quite some time is that winner take all competitions that we have within the game. So the problem with the winner take all competitions is who's playing within them. Let's talk about the Bayek winner take all competition that Champion Chase that we had very recently, about 3 weeks ago now. Normally we get a 48-hour notice that there's going to be some sort of champion training, winner take all tournament, or champion chase tournament where only the first place competitor gets the prize, and in some cases a champion that's really wanted by the community, or in some cases it's going to be a soul or whatever coveted item Plarium decides that it wants to place into first place. Now, there's a number of issues I have with these competitions. One in particular is the lack of transparency from Plarium regarding how many brackets there are of 100 for players and the way that we are divided into 100 brackets and how they're being manipulated. So Plarium never tells us how many players there are within the competition, what the player base is as a total, right? For us to determine how many players are actually receiving this prize. So we know that the number one player on that champion chase is gonna receive the prize, but in a very random way of biometrics that we're not familiar with and haven't been disclosed to us, we're separated into 100 player brackets. We don't know how many brackets of 100 players there are, and we don't know, therefore, how many players are actually receiving this prize. If that's 1% of the total gaming community that is actively competing for this, or if it's less than 1%, if it's half of a percent, it says 0.001 of the player base is actually getting the prize. We have absolutely no idea. We have no idea why some players are being placed in brackets where the majority of the bracket is extremely inactive and is not putting up any points, and then players have a history of being inactive, or why some players are placed in a very, very active bracket as opposed to others. So that lack of transparency leads to a lot of gameplay manipulation that I take issue with. But overall, the biggest problem that I see with this issue that happens every single time and no one's talking about it, that to me is so alarming, I consider it cheating, sponsored cheating by Raid, is the ability of Plarium content creators to participate in the same champion chase that I am participating in. To me, that is a huge problem within the game. And why is that a problem? Well, simply put, because the Plarium content creators are not simply content creators that are on their own making YouTube videos and happen to work with Plarium. They are actually in a contractual relationship with Plarium, where Plarium provides them with compensation for the work that they do. They enter into a contract. It's by all intents and purposes a employment relationship, right? So it's basically having a Plarium insider in one of the brackets that's able to put up scores that no one's gonna be able to compete with. And the reason why no one is going to be able to compete with them is because these individuals are sponsored by Plarium. Plarium is providing them with many of the resources that they utilize to compete. If you are in a champion training tournament and all of a sudden you see a YouTuber in your bracket, you basically have no chance against them, because no matter how many resources I have, that YouTuber is being compensated for the work that they do by Plarium on a weekly basis at a bare minimum, with a large number of books, far more books than I get on a monthly basis, right? And they get it on a weekly basis in terms of weekly packages, and they can just amass these books and easily bi-weekly participate in a champion chase and take first prize. So very simply put, someone that has a contractual relationship with Plarium and works for Plarium and gets the resources that they're going to use within the race is participating in the same race that I am, a player that is paying for his resources and has to grind very hard for them and has a very limited amount of resources he can get. So there is simply no fair playing field there. There's nothing I can do to compete with that person. It's basically putting in someone, a ringer, right, that's gonna win the race no matter what. And the content creators are not unaware of this. That's why sometimes when you're watching a video, you'll hear a comment like, well, let me put up a few thousand points to give them a hint that they're going against a YouTuber. Or I hear the YouTuber say, well, I'm doing this for a video, I feel bad, but I'm going against them, because they know they're gonna be guaranteed to win. They have the ability to get these resources from Plarium directly, right, without getting money. They have a direct line to Plarium. They can raise charge. They can even get charged to give to their viewers, right? These are individuals that should not be placed in the same competitions as the regular player base. In any other game, an employee of the company would not be playing with the regular player base, because that's unfair. It's cheating. You have an unfair advantage over everyone else. We have hundreds of content creators. At the very least, they should all be put in a server together for the account that they have signed up to receive rewards directly from Plarium for, and have that account separated from the rest of the player base. Why? Because that account has grown and has benefited from their contractual relationship in an enormous way, making it very different from any other player account. And at any time, whether I'm playing in a live arena battle or I'm going in a competition against them directly in any way, that account is simply benefiting from the direct involvement of Plarium, which is growing that account. So it is not a fair competition when you have someone that's receiving resources directly from the game maker. So that person is gonna be basically at all times having an advantage against everyone else. It's like if you were in a race, for example. Let's say you're in a racetrack and you decide to enter a race for a price of $10, and you get to the starting line, and everybody gets in line, and they're about to take off. But before they take off, someone raises their hand and looks up, and they see that 1,000 meters down, there are 3 other players ahead of them already down the racetrack, and they say, wait a minute, how come those 3 other runners are so far ahead of us in the starting line? And the person running the race says, well, they're my employees, so they get to start 1,000 meters ahead of you. They have an advantage, right? That wouldn't be fair. Those individuals are far more likely to win than the people that are behind. And what's worst of this is that is never disclosed to the player base. It's practically against the terms of the contract that the content creators have with Plarium. So I've done a little research here, and I went to the Plarium content creator website, where we look at where content creators will normally sign up with Plarium. Here's the registration. You click on this button, and they have the package that they have here to entice YouTubers to go and sign up with Plarium. They have different levels of packages that you can sign up for, that you will receive on a weekly basis, the benefits, in order to basically advertise the game for Plarium and generate content to attract players to Plarium. That's why you see YouTubers constantly putting up YouTube channels and then making contact and following the exact guidelines that Plarium is dictating from them, you'll see 20 YouTubers put out a video once, everyone with the same title at the same time, and some of them even have the exact same graphic. If I see another graphic this month of the YouTuber in front of a raised screen with their hands to their cheek and an open mouth and amazement, and then you start the video and their message, right, their tone is laid down and they have nothing to amaze you. That's just the graphic that they have, and every single YouTuber has the same graphic because they've been instructed to sell you the same message, right? That's not something I want to see. That's not someone in their house giving me their opinion about the game. That is basically Plarium directly sending a message to me through that intermediator, that employee. Anyways, we're getting far away from the message here. So once you click on that button, here's the registration form. Within the registration form, they have the terms and condition, which pops up in here. And I went through these terms of conditions. I mean, it's pretty standard, things that they don't want it associated with their games, rules that the content creators need to follow. But there are a few things that I noticed within here that kind of were alarming to me, right? For example, point number 23. Once you agree to become part of the content creator programs, one of the things you agree to do is you will never disclose to anyone, unless like a court orders you to disclose it, right, through your videos or in any other way, the terms of the program and these rules, including the support and perks given to you. So Plarium is actually prohibiting content creators from saying that they're part of the content creator program explicitly in their videos and telling you that they're receiving rewards constantly from Plarium. Right, so you open a YouTube video and you see a YouTuber with hundreds of shards that tells you, oh, don't participate in everything, you just have to collect them. But then you see that YouTuber participates in everything every week, right? They have a video opening shards every week, and no matter when you pop up, they have 200 voice shards, 400 voice shards, and you say, well, how did they get them? There's no place in the game to get those voice shards. There's no place in the game to get 40 bucks. How are they getting them? Well, they're coming directly from Plarium. They're just not allowed to tell you that they're receiving these things for Plarium, right? So there's another thing. Another point that I noticed on here is they're also told to disclose on the video that they're content creators for Plarium. I only know on one YouTuber that does this very well constantly. It's the first thing he says on his video. He says this is a Right Shadow Ledger, it's sponsor video, and that's Echo. He's a YouTuber that's been around and playing the game pretty much as long as I've been playing it. Our accounts are similar in size. He's been playing for less than 2 years. So have I. In August, I have been playing for 2 years, and he's very good. He's great to watch. He has amazing energy. I love to watch it because his gameplay is very similar to what I'm doing. Sometimes he's doing something and I want to warn him, so I'm yelling at the TV. But he's the only one that I've seen that always says on his YouTube, this is a Right Shadow Legends sponsored video, and it's very clear about what it is. But these individuals, right, that are getting compensation from Plarium and are growing their account based on that compensations, then go right into the game, and then their account is placed in order to compete with a regular player base. That should not be the case. That is not ethical behavior. It is not fair play, and it's very alarming. And for the buy exchange chase, I went here and I took a few screenshots. Look, I put all my boys into the buy exchange chase, and I knew I didn't have a chance of winning. I was in first place, and every time I took first place, I lasted there for about a half an hour before the person below me took me over. And at the very last minute, they waited till 2 minutes to pop 5,000 points like it was nothing. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know it was possible to open 5,000 points that fast with only 3 minutes to go. I don't think the individual competing in my bracket was a YouTuber. I think it was a regular player based on the number of points he put out. But every YouTuber I watched was doing this, participating in these brackets. And I have a few screenshots here. Now, I am not doing this to pick on these individuals. These are YouTubers that I enjoy watching. I think they do great work. They are not technically breaking any rules, but the fact that you are not breaking a rule doesn't mean that this is ethical behavior or that it should be happening. If we all speak up about this, then it will stop happening, right? When you see something wrong, sometimes you have to report it in order for something to be done. You know, Fastidious is a great YouTuber. I use his website to keep track of my mercy system. He has a great page where you can go and basically keep track of when you're doing a fusion, so you can organize yourself and plan for it. It's a great free tool that he provides to his viewers. You don't have to be a viewer, you just have to have the link. I'm going to put the link right down on the description for everyone to go to his website. If you're not familiar with him, he's a great YouTuber. He has amazing energy when he talks, and he does very good videos a couple times a week. Anyways, if you see this screenshot, he is someone that is one of these content creators associated with Plarium, and as you can see, he is gonna be easily take first place here and win his champ chase. Here's another screenshot of another YouTuber I found that's part of the content creator program who has hundreds of shards. I mean, hundreds of shards. I don't know how they constantly accumulate from month to month hundreds of shards when you cannot grind for them in the game, especially when the YouTuber is claiming that they are free to play, that they are not buying these resources. Then how could you get them? Because Plarium is providing resources that you can either convert into shards, or they're providing you with shards directly. Here's another YouTuber that won the bank by a champ chase, who commented that he was gonna easily overtake the other guy. And at least he was very good about going over how much he had to open and everything he used to make sure he would take first place. Here we go, Fastidious again. Here's another YouTuber that I've been watching recently. This is Fishing Cow, I think is his name, or Cowfish. Let me see, because I want to say his name. Make sure you guys, if you guys hear this and you're gonna go watch his channel, you can. I'm gonna put the link in on the description. I don't remember the name of his channel off the top of my head, but he provides very eloquent description of what he does, and sometimes he claims to be number one in arena, number one pro in arena. He's not cruising, so I don't know why he says that, but he provides amazing advice that I like to watch, so you should definitely go and watch him. But as you can see, he has 500 void shards, almost 100 primal shards, right? This is not someone that the rest of us can compete with. Yeah, short of being a millionaire and willing to dump thousands of dollars into the game, it's still, you don't want to find out that the person you're competing with is a Plarium insider, right? That's basically leading you to spend, and you're not going to be able to overtake them because they have endless resources provided by the game manufacturer. That's just not fair behavior, right? Here's this account, Cowfish. So this is something I wanted to point out to you guys, because I know it's something you see. It's great to watch the content and see the YouTubers show you how they participate in this, but this isn't ethical behavior. This isn't something that should be happening, and it's not something that I want to compete against. It's almost like being on live arena. I can tell you right now, if I run into Cruisen's account in live arena, sure, I'm gonna be excited because he's a YouTuber I watch a lot, but there's no way I can win against someone like that. It isn't just the experience or how big the account is. He has access to everything, gear levels and things that I don't have access to. And his account has grown in a large way thanks to the association and the resources that come directly from Plarium. There's no way they can deny that. And that is something that we as a community need to voice if we have an issue with it, right? That we are going into these brackets for a competition, and the competition, if a YouTuber is in your bracket, it's rigged. It is rigged. What's worse is, you can go into the competition and start competing and not know that the person that keeps going up on top of you as a YouTuber. He might not be of your region. He might not speak the same language as you. You might not be familiar with that particular YouTube channel. And this person is utilizing resources directly from Plarium against you, and you have no idea who you're competing against. That's a problem. That's why one of my major issues with the game is the lack of in-game messaging and in-game communication. That we're gonna address in another video, but right now we need to talk about what's fair for the community, what fair competition is, and what fair disclosure is, because prohibiting YouTubers on a contract from disclosing what they're receiving from Plarium and from disclosing how they're getting the resources to win these tournaments is unfair on its own, but then allowing them to take resources away from the regular player base that's spending money on it because they're pretty much rigged to win, it's completely unethical, completely unfair, and something I'm against. This is one of the reasons I made this channel, to voice things that the rest of the community is not talking about. In the Plarium's control message to the community by controlling YouTubers and enticing them to basically be part of their program with these rewards, it's not allowing the message to get to you about what's happening in the community. So we have to speak about it. A few months ago, almost about a year ago now, there was a controversy with Boozer. He's another great YouTuber that I watch, because he actually showed the rewards that you get from Plarium by mistake in one of his videos, and players became aware that, well, you claim to be free to play. How are you free to play if you're working for Plarium and Plarium is sending you resources every week, and this is how you're actually building your account, right? Is that really considered free to play? Because you might not be putting the money directly on it, but most of the benefit of how your account works and what it is comes directly from Plarium. So you can see in this screenshot the number of books that they get on a weekly basis. 7 5-star chickens, 1,500 energy, 1,300 gems. I mean, 1,300 gems. I don't collect 1,000 gems in 3 months. And they're getting it on a weekly basis. That's something that they can convert to thousands of energy. If you ever wonder how you see people that claim to be free to play and then tell you, oh, you should do 40,000 energy in a tournament, you say, how's that possible? Well, those individuals are getting free energy from Plarium and gems to invest into energy, and then they're also getting the books to compete directly against you. You can Google these screenshots on your own. You have a more granular description here as to what comes into these level packages that the YouTubers receive from Plarium, exactly what they contain within them. A level 1, level 2, level 3 package, because one of the issues here with the lack of transparency is Plarium themselves don't tell you any of the benefits. They just show you a little plus and tell you, well, they get a weekly rewards, they get access to all this information. They want to hide this from the player base. And why should they hide it? There's nothing wrong with this as long as they disclose it. As long as it's disclosed, there's absolutely nothing wrong for someone that's doing hard work and promoting the game being compensated for it. What is wrong here is the fact that they are hiding it and then allowing those individuals to compete with the regular player base. They should absolutely be separated in a server. Look, if YouTubers want to go all out and compete on a winner-take-all champ chase or training tournament against another YouTuber, and you see them spending the resources they get from Plarium and they want to open 5,000 shards, great, I'd love to see that video, but they should be on a bracket with 100 other YouTubers, not with a few players that don't know they're competing against a YouTuber, and the Plarium has decided that information shouldn't be told to them, right? That's completely unfair. Another issue that I have with this that I wanted to voice is the fact that the YouTubers are also using their knowledge base on top of having those resources to manipulate the bracket itself. During the buy champ chase, for example, I watched a YouTuber, well, not to pick on him, but Cowfish, say how he deliberately took his account and participated less in previous champ chases, looking for a champ chase that he was going to participate in order to test the theory that if you place low on the previous few brackets, you are going to be placed in a champ chase with an inactive bracket. What do I mean by that? That the bracket of 100 players that you're going to be placed in, most of the players competing against you are not even going to move that much or do anything because they're mainly not as active in those kind of chases. And in his video, that was the case. It was proven true, right? It worked because he didn't have to put that many points up to take the first place. Like in my bracket, for example, I had to put on almost 17,000 points to be in second place for Bayek. And here he was able to take it with 15,000 and save hundreds of shards that he already had and was ready to pull on, because most of his bracket was very low and the individuals within there weren't participating as actively, right? And that was because he went out of his way to manipulate his behavior in order to do things that he thought would place him into a lower bracket. I mean, on top of already having the resources, doing that to fall in with players, to me, that's completely unethical. I understand that Plarium has not come out and said directly, you can't do this, this is against the rules, and that they might be even encouraging it because they are telling YouTubers not to tell you what they're doing, not to share where the resources are coming from, and then letting them participate in these chases, right? This is when we need to raise our voice and say, this is unethical, this isn't fair play, I don't want this happening in the game. I know that there's a lot of YouTubers out there telling you, oh, we're the little guys, we're just the players, Plarium is a huge company with lots of money, and we just played their game, that's it, there's nothing we can do about it. That is 100% false. That is simply not the way the world works, right? This Plarium might have made the game, but this is your game. You decide what happens in this game, and you have a very strong voice on how it works and what you do and what you want to see in it. And if you don't believe that, then put it to the test. Stop spending in the game. You don't even have to stop playing. Just stop spending in the game and tell Plarium why you stop spending, and suddenly they will do whatever you ask for, because at the end of the day, they need to pay their bills, right? And they need to generate revenue. That's what this game is for. This isn't made for your entertainment, right? This is a tool to generate revenue, right? For a company that needs to generate money. So that's why they make the game. It wasn't for, let's make a game that people can play for free and they'll have fun because we want people to have fun. No, it's let's generate an experience in a controlled environment that we believe can lead to generating a lot of money. And if the customer base becomes angry because you are doing something that isn't fair to them, and then they stop spending their money, guess what? Then they will change their behavior very quickly, because at the end of the day, it's the money that matters, right? You are the one that's writing those paychecks. You're the one that making sure the individuals there are employed, because you're the one spending in the game, right? So you have the strongest voice here at all time. Do not let anyone, none of the YouTubers from the content creator program, tell you that you don't have a voice and that there's very little that you can do because Plarium is a big company. That's BS. That's completely false. I am sorry that this message is taking me so long to get out to you, and that this is such a long video, but I think it's a really important topic to get on when we're having issues within the game and we have problems and no one's talking about them. Please, if you like this topic, even if you disagree with it and you want to present another side, share it with other people. That is the only way that we're gonna get the message out there. If I'm completely wrong and there's another point of view that I'm not considering it's something that I haven't thought of, then share the message so someone else can tell me that other side and correct me on whatever it is that I am doing wrong when I'm viewing the situation. So if you could be so kind and please share. I'm a new YouTuber. I will never be part of the content creator program because I want to be independent and not have my message be controlled by Plarium. And that means that I will not get the benefit that the other content creators get. But at least I will do what I want to do, which is to have a conversation and to fix the game and to address issues so I can actually have a joyful experience within the game and not be constantly frustrated or think that Plarium is out there to basically screw me every time, right? No, we want to have a joyful experience. You want to spend money because that was amazing and you enjoyed it and you had fun. We are paying for entertainment. This is a form of entertainment. It is the entertainment that we as players choose because it's easy and accessible, and we want to be enjoying it. You do not want to frustrate it, right? You don't want to have something bad happen in the game where you open all your 200 shards and you didn't get the champion because someone else was competing unfairly, and then you're very aggravated. That actually affects your being in the real world, right? It affects your attitude. You're gonna be angry. Don't let it affect you. Don't let it be frustrated, right? Where you're snappy throughout the day because you were collecting shards for weeks, months, and then all of a sudden someone that is playing unethically and unfair with resources from the game market is gonna beat you no matter what. Anyways, I think this has gone on for long enough. I'm sure you don't want to hear me rambling on forever. Thank you for stopping by the channel. I hope you have an amazing day. Please share this video, subscribe if you don't mind, and give us a like. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, Raiders. Now if you can please share, like and subscribe, then go fight throughout Teleria.